Hey there, Somategis here back with another podcast. It's only in room 15B. So, today we don't have a lot of things to talk about. It's just gonna be a short one. I realized when I was editing a few days ago, right, editing the video part of this podcast, that wearing this jacket is not a very good idea, right? Especially if ever it could happen that one gets an audience, right? After all these episodes with no few listens, right? Because this is green, right? So if it's green, they use green screens in the film industry. Green has no association with the skin. It's easy to separate, so that makes it easier to replace this green with whatever one would want to replace it with, right? So it acts as a green screen, if you've heard of anything like that, right? Speaking of things relating to blowing up and fame, I've come to realize, man, that the pursuit of fame for its sake, man, it's one of those things that you know that one has to sell their souls to get or even maintain sort of fame. It's one of those things that one shouldn't strive to achieve. I'm not sure if that's the good way. Obviously, if you're doing good work, you'd want to be known for your good work. But just pursuing fame for its own sake, man, I think it could be screwed in that manner. I've just seen, so those things, there was this event, the Met Gala, right? With those events, man, people dress up, right? It's celebrities, famous people, right? It's appropriate for them to be there, for them to be dressed in that manner. For me, I'm a sort of a shy person, not that shy. Thing is, I don't like social settings, right, where I have to be with a lot of people. It depends on what we're doing, obviously. Maybe church, I don't have a problem with church, worshipping and whatever. But, and also like your traditional ceremonies where we singing and dancing. Singing and dancing, traditional Zulu dancing is one of the nicest things. So I don't have a problem with being with people in that setting. But in all other settings, man, it's weird. Or in class as well, no problem studying. But in all other settings, it's weird. So this thing of the pursuit of fame. So I saw there was this clip on the internet of this guy, James Charles, right? So I think he's a guy, right? People refer to him as a he, but he does makeup and whatever. He refers to himself as a sister. There is this sister thing going on YouTube. It's one of those fields or those corners of YouTube that I don't want to visit, right? It's one of those things that it's okay being there in its corner, right? It's not my territory to visit and whatever, right? So what I saw is, okay, I'm busy on Reddit. This is not gonna work well if I'm busy on Reddit. So what I saw there is that guy, I think YouTube paid for him to be there. So fashion, I think it's along his lines or whatever, paid for him to be there at that Met Gala with celebrities, right? Man, I saw a video a video that made me change the way I look at fame. Alright, because I don't want to say he wasn't supposed to be there, but there was a point where he was waiting for photographers to take pictures of him, but no one was taking pictures, so he was standing there weirdly, sort of cringy way. Man, I couldn't bear watching that video. It was so brutal, man. And I was like, is this even necessary to go through this? Is it necessary? What do you gain out of fame? I'm not sure. Is it that you're not satisfied with the stuff you do? You want like external parties to, I'm not sure, is it recognize it? What is fame? Let's see. Let's check Google. What does Google say? What is fame? Like the definition of fame: the state of being known or talked about by many people, especially on account of notable achievements. The state of being known or talked about by many people, right? Known and talked about by many people, right? Doesn't sound so bad, the definition of fame, right? Thing is, it's the pursuit. I've seen this with a lot of people. Thing is, right now you can get famous for having no talent at all, like just by doing nothing. You can get famous by doing nothing. I think that's the worst kind of famous. Being famous for just being famous, right? I've seen people just making videos or whatever of themselves, recording themselves, those Slay Queenie recordings, those ones. I think those maybe want validation, or people on the internet too, I'm not sure, do what. Man, is this okay, maybe I should have come to this with some sort of a comedic approach, because this is so serious and I don't even know, I haven't gotten to the bottom of the case of the thing, right? But I think it's wrong somehow. Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. It's weird to pursue fame just for the sake of fame, to be famous just for the sake. I'm not sure. No, not to be famous for the sake of being famous, but to pursue that. I think that's one way of selling your soul somehow. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's so weird, man. I need to go and check my laundry. Okay, it's 9 minutes left. I need to go and check my laundry. So let's move on. So what did I want to talk about? Oh, I have Ecclesiastes. Not sure if it's something I want to talk about it now as well. And also with that okay, no, I'm not gonna talk about that guy, girl, or whatever they say he is right now. Let's just skip that one. Let's just skip with that one. I have only one thing in notes. It's fear of being wrong. What was I thinking there? Okay, I don't remember why I wrote that down. Man, man, this is boring. Oh, okay. One other thing I didn't talk about is that Caster Semenya thing, right? The fact that she has more levels of testosterone is it called, in her body, so that gives her this unfair advantage over her female counterparts. Is it called counterparts? But on the races, it gives her advantages, so it's thought of as giving her advantages over the other athletes, right? So that's why she's winning, right? That's what they say. That's why she's winning most of the races. It's because the testosterone in her body, the higher levels of testosterone in her body makes it easier for her to defeat to run faster than other athletes in the race. Man, this is a complicated topic, this one. I'm seeing people approaching this thing lightly, right? Like it's clearly defined. The right and the wrong in this case, but I don't see that as a case. As a case in this case, that I might have to scrap this podcast and restart. But I have to do that. Okay, thing is, here's the problem. I haven't sat down and talked about this and thought about this. Oh, there comes the answer. This podcast is my way to think through things, right? So let's think through this thing of Caster Semenya being having a lot more testosterone, meaning she is more muscular or whatever, and more maley. Is it maley? Because I think women also have testosterone, but their levels are far too low compared to males, right? But then some bodies, due to their genetic constitution, some bodies will have or will produce more testosterone for ladies, right? So if you want to cheat, right, in these sports and whatever, as a lady, I think as a guy as well, you can do it. I'm not sure. I think guys do it as well. Testosterone, right? So you can inject yourself with testosterone. How to pronounce this thing, man? Testosterone. Yeah, I'm good. Testosterone. Right? I think you can inject yourself with this so that you raise your levels, and then you get what? You get all the benefits that go with having more testosterone. What are those benefits? I think those benefits are all those things that makes men more men over women, right? Things like your muscles, body, was the structure, having growing taller, and then having this body structure. See, being more manly. Is that what it's called? Being more manly, but having this structure that is ready for destruction, ready for action, ready for fire. See, all those things of manliness. Is that what it's called? I think you understand. I'm not sure how dumb do I think you are, but I think that's the function of a testosterone, right? So it makes you more muscular and whatever. That's why men are more muscular than women, right? For fighting and all those physical activities, men are more suited genetically, physically, right? Testosterone manufactures involving development of muscle bulk and strength. So it increases neurotransmitters and cardiac tissue growth, also interacts with the substance DNA, which causes protein synthesis, because the levels of growth. Levels of growth. So, right, this coupled with exercise means you'll be more physically nourished, right, to overcome. Man, my English sucks, but it means you'll be more physically nourished to to undertake or to be successful in physical undertakings, right? All things that require physical strength, right? So in this case, that this ruling has been made now that if levels are higher, if testosterone levels are higher than the normal female, it means that there is need for them to be reduced. There is need for you to be injected with whatever. Okay, so I understand that point, right? You can't have a male competing with females, right? So if one is more muscular, shows more maley, not shows more maley. See, if one has that advantage, it's unfair for the other participants or athletes who do not have the same genetic constitution, right? Who do not have the same hormone in their body. Here's where it gets tricky, right? So this person, since their childhood, they've had these levels of testosterone, right? It's been there all their lives. It's not like it's something they inject whenever they exercise and before the race or whatever. It's been there all of their lives. All right. To say now, after all these years of you practicing, of you running and whatever, you've gotten this good because of this hormone. We're going to inject you with this to decrease the level of testosterone in your body, right? This doesn't only affect their athletic life, it affects their personal lives as well. Their lifestyle, it's gonna be affected, right? If you're reducing this testosterone level, okay, ignorant me, I didn't read how they're going to implement this thing, but to be correct, it means they'll have to implement it by her taking a regular injections of this, I think they call it suppressant or suppressor, to decrease the levels of testosterone in her body. Ethically, I don't see this as being right. Ethically, or is it ethically or morally? Morally and ethically, are those different? I understand why they do it. They want to do it. But there are consequences which they didn't take into account. How will this change this person's life now? His lifestyle or her lifestyle in this case. Her lifestyle as a whole is going to be changed by this. How quickly she gets tired, maybe. How fast her muscles recover, maybe. And it's a lot of factors, man. It's a lot of things, right? It's not like she's been taking what's this? It's not like she's been taking injections to give herself an advantage over other athletes, right? Her body is naturally suited, right? And you're going to ask now, isn't it then that because it's not only her who has that sort of body, isn't it then that those people who have higher testosterone, isn't it that those are the people who are actually suited for the competition in the first place? Right? You can't take cheese boy or cheese girl and put them into a ring for wrestling, not even wrestling, for boxing, right? We need manly men, right? You need guys who are going to wreck you up, right? You can't just take me, for example, or someone who is, I'm not sure how to say, weak. We use weak in our language, calling someone weak, sort of saying they are less of a man in some way, right? That's tough. Saying someone is less of a man, that's very tough, that's insensitive, but we use that language. Might come off as being ignorant, I'm not sure. Okay, let me check my laundry now. Yeah, I have to go and check my laundry and I will come back and continue this thing. Oh man, didn't close the thing now. See, this is a problem. Okay, so I was talking about this thing and this Caster Semenya ruling and whatever, and how it's not as simple as we might think. And I think there is an article now, it's thecard.com. So after the ruling, there's been 2 athletes now who have been left out of the team in Kenya. Is one who holds, whose name is Imali. What's the name of this? The names. Matimila Imali and Evangeline Makena, right? So Imali has 400 a record in 400 meter race. Man, okay, so yes, let's get the facts straight in this situation, right? So the article goes on to say Imali was sidelined in the World Championships in 2015 when a blood test showed she had hyperandrogenism, a condition that causes the body to produce more androgens than average, right? For women, average means 0.12 to 1.79 nanomoles of testosterone per liter of blood, right? For men, it's 7.7 to 29.4 nanomoles per liter. In 2018, the IWF regulation mandated that female competitors must have maximum of 5 nanomoles of testosterone per liter of blood to compete in a women's event, unless they meet a certain criteria like a willingness to take testosterone blockers. Okay, so we need to have like an understanding of these blockers before we make a judgment of some sort, because if these blockers are taken only before the competition, there's still a problem of, well, if it's before the competition, is it now before the training as well? If it's before the training, then maybe you're training under the same conditions as you'd be running, so you're having the same less testosterone in your training session. Okay, so someone just interrupted that one. Where was I? Okay, so I was talking about this thing. What's this? Is it you take it only during your gym sessions and then before the race? And then does that not affect your life afterwards? Right? Those suppressors or blockers, do they not affect your life afterwards? Do they not change something with your life now? How long do they last? Right? It's those types of questions that I have. Okay, Semenya, a South African runner, a two-time Olympic champion, has been pushing. This is the cat.com, if you didn't get that. Has been pushing back against IF hormone for a decade ever since the federal application to take a gender verification test in the wake of a remarkable rape she ran in 2009. Semenya says the IFF specifically targeted her with a campaign to qualify what is normal in terms of athletes' naturally occurring hormones. Their guidelines, she said, are discriminatory, unnecessary, and unreliable, and disproportionate. Man, those are many words. Discriminatory. I think it's a lot of people who've been using this sort of reasoning that these are discriminatory in terms of race, to say, because there are female athletes competing with Caster Semenya who've been complaining white most of the time. So people are saying they are attacking her because she's black. Then unnecessary. I'm not sure if these are unnecessary, unreliable, and disproportionate. Unreliable and disproportionate. Okay, the regulations, I think there was a doctor who said the regulations are premature to be implemented because of the understanding they have for them, right? They don't have enough to conclude to make a conclusion to say this is how this thing should run, this is how we should implement, or we should regulate, we should go about tackling this issue of some female athletes having more testosterone than other female athletes, right? That was the problem. Some doctors, so if it's a doctor, you might have some trust, right? That person should be an expert, at least in that case. But I think it's necessary we should know about these things, and maybe there should be a discussion, and all sides should be heard, right? And an appropriate decision must be taken. Maybe I agree with unreliable and maybe disproportionate. I think I agree with most of what she said. Okay, not most of what she said. Racist. Man, I'm not sure about that one. I don't think I'm qualified to even try to take apart. Okay, as an Olympic swimmer, Casey Legler pointed out in an essay for the cat, athletes' bodies may present all kinds of naturally occurring advantages: large hands and feet that help propel Legler in the water, an unusually low level of lactic acid that prevent Michael Phelps' muscle from tiring as quickly as his competitors. The IFF has not felt compelled to regulate, and high level of autonomy may attribute to a number of biological factors like polycystic ovary syndrome, which affects estimated 1 in 10 US women. Imali told the IFF, the East African, that she and a teammate took blood tests Friday before I've made, and this is a skin supplement. I'm not ready to quit and whatever. Man, yeah, this is a huge issue. This one, as I've been saying, I think they're correct to say that it's premature to make a decision of this sort in these type of instances. And as I was saying, isn't it that you're weak to compete in this, and not that the other people are too strong? Who argues for that? Who makes a decision for that? Right? Should you be an average woman to compete in these sort of what competitions? Or is the competition actually for strong? No. This thing of using strong and weak women should have low levels of testosterone to compete in these sort of athletics or whatever. Or are these competitions, or is this competition only for people with high levels of testosterone? Who is to say that? Who decides on that? Right? Then there comes an issue of other genetic constitutions, right? Because we only considering testosterone is a problem. As I was saying, how will that affect her life? Because her body should depend on that in some way, because it's all that it has been used to, right? So man, this is very complicated, and it's a problem. And then brings the question all over again, what about the other competitor or the other competitions or in Olympics, not just running, right? People who have big hands or feet in terms of swim, which gives them advantages in terms of swimming. What about that? Should we reduce their hands? Should we say no, you have to have these size of hands or feet in order to compete in this, right? And then there is levels of lactic acid, which prevents muscles of this other guy from tiring. What should we do with that? Should we give this guy more lactic acid, make him more tired or tire easily as the other competitors? Who's to decide? I think this decision was premature, obviously, but I think this is something that should be studied, right? Because it's fascinating, and yeah, it wasn't something to be just. I think the decision is too much premature, right? Because who decides who's more suitable to run in these races, right? Yeah, man, that's my opinion on this thing. That's my 2 cents. It's more complicated than one would think, and I can imagine how stressful it should be for the people involved, right? This brings there is this thing of transgender women competing with females. I think people who support this ruling sort of take their reasoning from that, is it anger, or take their reasoning from that experience. I'm not sure if we call it experience or whatever, but there is this debate whether transgender males should compete with transgender males. Is it males now? Do you call them a male or female? Transgender females, so people who convert from being a male to being a female, should we allow those people to compete with normal females? normal, like as in this person was born a female, right? Should we allow those people to compete with each other? That's a no, for various reasons. For the fact that we don't have competitions where males compete with females, because as much as that person is now a female or considered a female, their genetic constitution, all of their life, they've been male, right? So their body, they have an advantage over a normal female, right? But then to use that reasoning to say, okay, what about someone who has naturally occurring high levels of testosterone in their body? Should we now block their testosterone? Man, I think it's more complicated than that. And is it only the testosterone that, I've not studied this, so I appreciate some expert opinions whenever I get viewers. But is it only testosterone that determines how quickly or how fast one is in terms of these races, running and whatever? Yeah, it's complicated, and the ruling was premature, I think. Okay, let's move on. I'm hungry now. I don't have bread. It is a problem. It is an issue. A problem. It is an issue. It's a problem. It is an issue. What did I want to talk about? Oh shit. Oh, what I thought about this yesterday, actually. This thing of, man, sitting like this is not cinematic. See those videos? What's this? Every filmmaker has a video titled "How to Make Your Videos More Cinematic." Man, that's one of the most copied. That's one of the most copied one of the most copied video title or things talked about it on YouTube, right? And then if it's a what's this? If it's a photographer, it's not footage more cinematic. What is it then? I think it's pictures pop. I think it's something like that. One thing that we're going to find in all of photographers and filmmakers videos, right? So let's go on. I thought about this yesterday as well. There is unease. There is this cockiness that comes with it. This thing of calling yourself a busy person. There is that feeling that you think your life is not interesting. Is it interesting? I'm not sure, but I feel uneasy whenever someone tells me that they are busy, like they have a busy life. No, not a busy life. That they are busy. They are a busy person. I'm like, really? What are you implying with that? Are you implying that I'm not busy? Man, because there is this cockiness that comes with it that now, I'm not sure, man. But there is that feeling that as you're saying, you are busy, or your life is busy, or you are a busy student, or whatever that you want to imply or want to say with being busy, they're implying that the person that you're talking to, their life is not as busy as yours. That's what you imply, right? And that's it's weird, man. It's really, really weird, and it's funny to hear someone saying they're a busy person. Students most of the time who have these what's this? What do you call this? This tendency to say that they are busy. It's the same thing with group assignments. Whenever you have group assignments, you find that you're doing the same course, but some people are going to say they are too busy to meet. Although I don't like group meetings, group assignment meetings, because most of the time things can be discussed over WhatsApp, but someone saying they are just too busy, it's like everyone else is busy, man. Should we? Okay, sometimes it happens that people compete as well, which is more funny. I try to not do sometimes, or most of the time, this thing of competing about how busy you are or how good you are with something. Like when talking to someone, I was talking to another guy as well who's doing computer science. We're not that close, but we're close, so we go together with whenever we in a shuttle and wherever. Doesn't watch this, I think. So he was talking about the use of a computer, how it makes his eyes itchy and whatever. Right? I didn't want to bring this up because I know it sounds jerky, this thing of you have this problem, right? But oh no, my problem is bigger than yours, right? Saying it's like saying I had a terrible day, right? Instead of someone trying to get why your day was terrible, they're going to say, oh, yours was better, mine was extra terrible. You see how that doesn't move the conversation forward or bring any resolution, sort of is a resolution to the problem, right? So I use a laptop. I sit in front of a laptop for hours. I edit pictures, I edit videos. I sit in front of a laptop for extended hours. So my eyes go red, and I take out ice from the fridge and then put it here, and then the thing, it stops hurting, right? That's what I do. That's how hard I use a computer, right? And there are a few students who use a computer like that, unless maybe they are writing some, I'm not sure, like being creative, taking pictures and whatever. It means you're going to stay. It's the same thing with coding, right? You're going to stay on a computer or a laptop for extended periods of time, right? But I brought that up to say I also spend a lot of time on a computer. Here's how you can sort of what's this? Here's how you can solve that problem. Here's how I deal with that problem of eyes hurting. But it was like I'm implying that I'm spending more time than it does on a computer, which is likely true. So he got defensive to sort of imply that he actually uses the computer much more than I do. He sits in front of a computer much more than that. We tend to this thing that I don't like, this thing of competition in terms of problem. I have a problem, oh no, my problem is more difficult than yours, so I'm not sure, you shut up or whatever. Ah man, I'm hungry now. Really, really hungry. What time is it now? I think they open at around 8. Wait, it's 9 a.m. Time moves fast. Damn. Time moves fast. Okay, so I had about 22 minutes. I have 20 minutes now. So I'm almost done with this podcast. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to talk about was this. Right? So I don't know the Bible that much. I try to read and listen to it whenever I can, and then I try to analyze things however I can. So I've been helped mostly with listening to Jordan Peterson's interpretations of the Bible and the Bible stories, and that has helped. And I wished, obviously the guy is a busy guy, is a busy person. I wished he would rush into analyzing the whole thing. Like there is this fear actually that the guy will die before finishing the Bible, because him analyzing the Bible in his, he call it, I think, the psychological meaning of the Bible and whatever, it will be what's this, a great what do you call this thing, great contribution to civilization, to human, if the guy would complete his lectures on the Bible series, right? Because it would answer a lot of questions. Because the Bible isn't as easy to understand as one would hope. You have to be deep, have to be digging deep in the Bible before even understanding the thing, right? So I've been having this problem, right? So I'm into filmmaking, I'm into photography, but the problem is that I'm broke, right? So if you're broke, you have to find a job, and then being a resentful guy, not liking doing things that I don't like, and being this cocky, I want jobs related to computer science at least, or photography, right? But my mother hasn't been, not that she hasn't been supportive, how to put this, okay, so how I am, like, right, as a person, is that I don't really care that much about what my family thinks about my I don't even care at all my ambitions, right? The goals that I pursue, or things that I pursue, to the point that I mostly don't even tell them what I'm doing, because I buy my own stuff, so I don't bother anyone with anything, right? So problem is being now that I'm not working this year, so I'm not buying my stuff, and I'm not even buying my own food, which is a problem, right? At this age, at 21, I finished a degree last year, so I should be working this year, right? Making some back, and I'm not doing that, and then that is a problem, right? So I shouldn't complain when they say I should work at home, or should find work of some sort. And it's not like my mom hasn't been supportive in terms of photography and whatever, but things, they just don't understand the stuff, right? So I went to the Bible now, It's this thing, it's called Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes. I think this is rumored to have been written by Solomon, right? The guy who had everything in terms of financially and what do you call it? Physically. Do you call it physically? In terms of property and being rich or wealthy, this guy had everything, right? So I don't think it's confirmed it was written by him, but it gives perspective, right? It gives another perspective to life, having something written by someone who has achieved everything in terms of things to achieve as a person, right? Things to add to your life, right? He goes to say life is meaningless, wisdom is meaningless, not life is meaningless. What did he say there? The first verse. But he talks about how most of the things that we do, everything is meaningless, right? And talks about the things we do that are meaningless in life and whatever, right? So he goes on to say, I'm not sure if he says life is suffering, but she goes on to say the misfortune of life, how people spend their lives busy. What's this? Is hating? It doesn't say hating. How people spend their lives or do things because they envy other people doing those things or whatever, right? So he goes on to provide some sort of a, what's this? Some sort of a, I don't think what does it provide? It's some sort of a, okay, I'm butchering this whole thing. So he goes on to provide some sort of an antidote. Is it an antidote to all this chaos, right? So it's Ecclesiastes 5 verse 18 to 20, right? So it says, this is what I've observed to be good, that it is appropriate for a person to eat and to find satisfaction in the toilsome labor under the sun during the few days of life God has given them, for this is their lot. Moreover, when God gives someone wealth and possessions and the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot and be happy in their toil, this is a gift of God. They seldom reflect on the days of their life, because God keeps them occupied with the gladness of heart. Right? What is the meaning of that? I would really like someone to explain that one for me. Alright? Because I've been thinking about it in terms of passion, right? If you've read Flow, or if you have any passion, you know that if you're involved in that passion, time seems to fly by. You don't necessarily seem to, I wouldn't use remember the days. You don't seem to think about any other thing during those times, right? When you're involved in that meaningful activity to yourself, right? A lot of things just blur, sort of, right? You would say maybe someone like Messi, a very rich person. I would like to think that when he plays football, all the problems of life and all his possessions or his wealth don't mean anything to him. The only thing he focuses on is the ball in front of him. All right. So my thinking was, whenever you find something so meaningful, something you enjoy that much, to the point that the wealth that comes with it, if there is any, you enjoy that as well, but you enjoy just the activity. It keeps you occupied. The activity keeps you occupied all the time, and to the point that it's all that you think about and it's all that you do. All right. I'm not sure if there is the way I'm thinking about it so that I could justify myself being in love with filmmaking and photography, and those being the only things that I would like my life to be based in. Not necessarily the only things, but the core things, the things that I see myself doing in the foreseeable future, right? Not sure if I'm using my conclusions to justify the proof, right? Just like Jordan Peterson says. Right, so I'd like for someone to explain that one for me. Then I'm gonna send this to some people who have some sort of intelligence to answer this one. But I think it goes along these lines of enjoying whatever you do so much that all the troubles of life, they don't bother you anymore. If you have something like that is a gift of God, and you should continue on enjoying that. That's how I think about it. Might be wrong. Oh, speaking of being wrong, I've seen how it is now with this thing of the internet and whatever. It's, man, everyone is so scared of being wrong to the point that it's paralyzing. I think myself as well included in that. I'm not sure why, right? Like I should know everything, like I should be an expert in all fields, right? Shouldn't I be allowed to be wrong? What's this? Are we not allowed to be wrong? That's my question. Right? I think we've come to a point where I'm not sure. We sort of assume everyone is an expert. Thing is, it's a problem to lie. You shouldn't lie. Lying is wrong, right? But saying something that you truly believe and finding out it's wrong, I think that goes with the territory of being a person. That's what I would like to think, man. Because sometimes it even, like some complicated topics, right? Some complicated topics, complicated topics. They are complicated. There are a lot of complicated topics in life, right? I think I should say what I think about the topic. What I think about it, it should be wrong, could be wrong. I'm not an expert in that topic. Oh, and another thing as well, they need to what? They need to have an opinion everything that happens. I think that there is a problem, some sort of a problem. I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna analyze that one next week, because I don't think you need to have an opinion about everything, right? But if it happens that you have an opinion about something, you should be able to express it. If it's wrong, it should be corrected, right? There is this uncommunicated assumption that everyone is an expert and everyone is a genius in some way now. Everyone all of a sudden is a genius and nobody should be wrong. That is a problem. How to solve that? I don't have an idea how to solve that. Why did I talk about it? Oh, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Do you know? I really don't know. Do you know? I really don't know. I'm scared that there is something that I'm leaving out in this video. There's something I'm leaving out. Game of Thrones. I think I'm gonna do a separate video for Game of Thrones. Not now, because there's a lot to talk about there. I'm just gonna do a separate video. Okay, I think that's been it for this podcast. It's been fun. We'll talk next week. How did you start off? Yeah, we'll talk next week. That's been it. Have an awesome week. Today is Sunday the 12th of May. It's gonna be the 14th of May when I hear this, or sometime in the future when I eventually get an audience. Okay, I'm out of here. It's been so much easy with the podcast. Peace.